Hey everyone, welcome to Birds of a Feather. Are you itching to try your first project in your new xTool P2 CO2 laser? Well, have we got a post for you. This adorable dinosaur is just perfect for a kid's room or nursery. Stay tuned to find out how we did it.
Color outside the lines.
I just started using Procreate to design, and I love it for drawing, but I also love it for coloring in. Coloring in with Procreate is a great option because it helps you visualize where you're going with it before you actually put paint to your cutout. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this layer. Duplicate. I can turn that one off. Now I can come up here and choose colors. Let's make the dinosaur purple. Let's see how that looks. And you can just drag the color wherever you'd like it. Now if you don't like purple, you can change him to green. Let's see how that looks. Now I think I prefer the purple, so you can take two fingers and tap on the screen and you can return it back to purple and continue on your way. I think I like the green for the t-shirt. So this is just going to be for reference. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to layers. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to turn that back on. And then what I can do is I can go up to this little wrench and I can hit share. And I'm going to export that as a PNG. Then I'm going to save the image. And then I can export that, I'll just airdrop it to my computer and continue on with it. So that's it for Procreate. I just wanted to show you that. My next step is to bring it into Inkscape where I can vectorize it. Here it is imported into Inkscape, and what we're going to do right now is turn it into vector art by tracing the image. So I'm going to click the select key in the upper left hand corner here, and then I'm going to select my artwork by clicking on it with the left mouse. Then we're going to go up to Path, Trace Bitmap, and I'm going to leave all the defaults as is because a black and white image like this traces perfectly. So I'm going to click Apply. Now it doesn't really look like anything happened, but what you have to do is you have to drag it away. And this is your tracing on the right. So what I can do is delete the original artwork. I'll drag this back. I'm now going to come down to where this X is. I'm going to hold down my Shift key and I'm going to click right here. And again, it doesn't look like it does anything, but I'm going to come down to Fill, I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to remove the fill. And there you go, you've got your image tracing. Now, I'd like to do some more work with this. I want to separate out the stripes and I'd like to be able to score those. So I'm going to take this back into Illustrator where I'm more comfortable with using it. I won't be showing you the Illustrator process in this video, but I will tell you that I did format the file in two different ways so that I could have one that cuts out like a coloring book and one that cuts out that I can put the little pieces back together and paint them separately. So I did two different files, which you'll see coming up. Before I exit out of Inkscape, I save the file as an SVG. Tool accessories always come beautifully packed. I'm going to be using this honeycomb panel for my very first project. So I'm going to unpack it, put it into the machine. I've already removed the slats, so they're totally removed. And what I did was I just put them right into my drawer. This is the base of our adjustable height Husky workbench. If you'd like to build one too, we'll link the video up in the right hand corner. And it's got some really good flat storage, so they're safe and out of the way there. I just want to talk a little bit about fire safety. xTool does make a fire safety set, which we don't have. So in its place, we've got this fire blanket. All you have to do is hang it on a wall and you pull to release it. It's totally made of fiberglass. So it just comes right out, you throw it over the fire and it suffocates it. Let's briefly go over what comes with the honeycomb panel. These tabs allow you to hold your materials down. They're magnetic. The honeycomb itself is made of stainless steel, so these magnets are great for holding down your material. The brush, of course, is for cleaning the honeycomb panel, which gets into all the nooks and crannies. I'm going to be using this 3mm basswood that was supplied by xTool with my machine. I've got these magnets in place to hold down the material, and I've decided to put the material sideways because if I were to put it straight up and down, I would run right into the edge of my honeycomb, and I do want it to sit flat and not on the lip. So I'm going to try it sideways. Let's go back to XES and get this set up. I've got my artwork opened up in XES, and typically the blue areas here would be score and the black areas would be cut. But in this version of the Dinosaur, I'm going to score the whole thing and then cut it out. You'll see version 2 coming up later. All you really need to do is go into your score settings and put in your power and speed and number of passes. I've got 50, 80, and 1 for this setting. To cut the perimeter, I've got 60, 90, and 1. I'm going to connect the device and get going. Once connected in XES, I can see the wood, and I'm just going to drag the project right onto the wood. So this function is going to be score, and I've got score selected. I've got the power at 50, the speed at 80, and the passes 1. Now because this is my first project, I do want to go into settings, and I want to look at the flow of the air pump. Even though I'm not engraving at this point, I do want to change the settings so that I don't forget in the future. For engrave, I'd say you don't want to be more than 30%, and it's okay to have cut at 100. Now we do have an inline fan, so at some point in the future I might just turn this down more. We're going to turn the fan on, and I'm going to hit process. So let's hit process. It says no design elements are available on the canvas. So before you can process anything, you have to actually select what you're going to be processing, and I didn't do that, so that's why I got that message. So while I was figuring that out, I went back into settings and I changed the exhaust fan timing so that it would run for a little longer than typical so that it would air out the smell. I set the timing for 2 minutes, and then I went back into process. While I was thinking about what I forgot before processing, I decided to see what the basswood settings were. Oh, so it's 0.118. I have my settings set to inches, but you can also set it to millimeters if that's what you prefer. Since I wanted to do my own settings, I decided to use the measure function, but for some reason it didn't work because it didn't compare to what I got on my calipers. So it's showing 0.181, but that's not correct because it's a 3mm material. This is why it's important to have a pair of calipers and to use them to get accurate measurements. Remember to select the actual items on your canvas and then hit process and you'll be fine. Don't forget not to leave your xTool unattended while you're processing. Once you're ready, you can hit that start button on your machine. Okay, we're going to press the button on the device. The material's in there. The device is fairly loud, so I'm going to mute and speed up the video. I'm processing the scored version here, and I forgot to set the cut function at the same time. Because this was my first try, it was all trial and error, so I'm going to show you how I put the backer on and use the close view camera to reposition it. It's a brilliant function, so it's just as well that I forgot because it gives me a good opportunity to test it out. It's only scored right now, it's not cut through, so I'm going to have to process it again to cut the rest. One thing I like about the software is that it lets you know the amount of time that you used so that you can calculate the time, and if you are selling your items you'll know exactly how much time was spent and can calculate that in to your pricing. So I know this one took 5.5 minutes. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that off. I'm going to put this on. I think I could have cut and scored at the same time if I had stacked the backer onto the artwork that I just scored. When you're selecting your items and you're hitting that function, it's always best to have the score as your first function and the cut as the second one. So make sure you layer it correctly in that order. Before you can use the close-up camera, you're going to want to refresh your screen so you can see what you're positioning. I can do like capture close view. Capture close view right there. that looks like it's lined up. So I'm gonna do cut. Okay, so I'm gonna go back into the settings and I'm going to run the fan for longer because you said it wasn't high enough. So I'm gonna do, so let's do 240. With my manual settings in place, I'm gonna hit process again and we're gonna cut it out. Okay, so we're gonna hit start. Just press the button. Looks like it cut. So here it is, my first project. Okay, let's see how it did. It's pretty cute. It does look good, so let's get it painted. As you can see, cutting took another 2.18 minutes. If you're planning on doing the project again, save the file as an XES file to your computer, and then you can use it again. I'm going to color my dinosaur in with these Posca paint pens. This is my first time using Posca paint pens, and what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to outline with some black, and then I'm going to color the rest in. So I've just got a piece of paper here. Okay, so we've got it primed, and I'm just going to go around the outline here. This would be fun for the kids. You could cut these out just like coloring book pages. And then they've got a character that they can stick to the wall, decorate the room with. It'd be really cute. I've got some gold pens too. I might just fill that in with gold, but I think that they're thicker. Maybe what I'll do is use some yellow here for those stripes. Okay, I think we've got that going too. Let's just color some of these stripes in. The yellow is really nice and bright. If you enjoy adult coloring books, you're gonna like this too. It's not just for kids. So fun. I'm gonna color in, I think he's gonna be a purple dinosaur. Let's see if I've got purple. I don't have purple in this set, but let's just see what I have in my metallic set. So I've got another set of metallics here. Let's just see if I have a purple. And I do. So let's just color him in with purple. That's really pretty. This is quite relaxing. I enjoy coloring. Okay, I'm just going to pause the camera there because I need to get up close and personal with this. Let's open it up. Before we get to the reveal of this one, I just want to show you that we cut another version of this dinosaur. This is the backer. I'm going to pull this out of the machine and I'll show you how that one looks. Here's our new one. And here's our old one, almost finished. We're almost done painting. So I'll be stacking the outline onto the backer, painting the inner pieces. As opposed to our first single layer cut file, this one has 2 layers, so the outline comes out. The pieces can be colored separately. You put it all together and stick it down to the backing. I'm a color outside the line kind of gal, so I appreciate having separate pieces that I can paint and not have to worry about going outside of the lines. So this all comes apart, and then this part here, this outline piece, just move that aside. I'll be painting that black. Of course, the tail I won't be. I should have actually perhaps cut this part out, but I didn't. Once I finish painting all the inner pieces, I can just simply glue this onto the backer. And we're going to put this together somewhat like a stained glass piece, so the pieces will just slot back into place once they're painted. It's so nice not having to be careful about going over the lines. I can just paint away and not worry. Same goes for the inner pieces. I can just paint away so much faster than the first version, where I have to be careful about staying within the lines and not going over. For this project, I'm adding on this 3M adhesive. It is called 467 MP. I didn't have enough to put it on the wood itself when I put it into the laser, so I'm having to add it on in pieces and cut around it with this X-Acto knife. So that's one piece on. I'm going to continue laying this on, and then I'll be able to peel this back and stick on my pieces. With the 3M adhesive cut away, I'm just going to burnish it really well before I peel it up. I'm going to actually set this aside with some weights on it while I finish painting. Okay, it's assembly time. Wish me luck. I'm going to try to peel this 3M backing off. That will expose the glue. This is an old piece, so I hope it's still going to work. There's the last piece there. Now what I need to do is position this part over the edge and stick it down. Now I think I've only really got one chance at this, so I have to be really precise here. That seems pretty good. So I'll stick that down. Now I can place some of these pieces in. Let's try something easier first. There. Let's do the t-shirt. Let's go for this one. It's just like a jigsaw puzzle. Or even a little bit like stained glass. He's looking so cute already. That's the beauty of using this 3M. Okay, let's see if I can do this one. There. Now this piece is a little warped, so I just don't know if this glue is going to hold it, but I'm going to put it in and then I'm going to weigh it down with some irons after the fact. Like so. I'll just put an iron on it and I'll let it sit overnight. But for now, I'm not going to force it. That one goes there. Now this is plywood, so as these pieces cut, they can tend to warp right away. So I think it's probably a good idea to try to cut with MDF or even some thicker material. Another tip I want to leave you with is to keep your pieces really organized so that you don't get them mixed up, because a lot of these look alike. So you want to be sure you've got the correct versions of everything. Now this one I'm a little iffy of. I'm hoping that fits in. Maybe I'll leave that for last. I'll just see what I have left. That one should go there. It might be a good idea to have tweezers to do this because it gets a little finicky. It wants to twist. That looks okay. Now again, I'm not too sure about these pieces. Hopefully it's the right one. Try to keep organized. There, that looks good. Now we'll just finish off his face. And we'll get his hat in. I think that's upside down. And there, last piece in. He's so cute. So like I said before, this piece is popping up. I'm going to place a heavy weight on top of this. And I'm going to do the same thing at the other end. Luckily I have a few antique irons here. Let's try it this way. Okay, so I'm going to leave that overnight, and when we're back we'll have the big reveal. I have to say I'm really impressed with how that 3M is held together. It really took care of that warp in that piece on the t-shirt. This would be awesome cut in acrylic. It would look just like stained glass. We'll have some acrylic pieces coming up soon, so stay tuned. So that's a wrap. I'm just going to show you one more thing. Before we wrap this up, I just want to show you that you can scale an SVG to any size you like. So with attachments like the conveyor and the riser, you can do large scale wall art. You can find the full tutorial over at birdsofafeather.ca, and don't forget to like, share, and follow right here. Want more unique crafts and DIYs? Be sure to watch another video.